I have been selling this book, Zanazli and Wan Chun Hong's Guide to Indie Filmmaking, which is published by MPH for a while now. It's a really good book if you want to be a filmmaker, whether it's for YouTube, social media, TV, film, cinema, whatever. This is the book to get. I'm going to make it more accessible and more affordable to all of you because I believe that everybody needs to become a filmmaker. The more filmmakers we have in the world, I think this world will be a better place to live in. Now it's available as an electronic book download on my website. I'm going to link it here. It's really cheap, it's really affordable. It's only 5 ringgit if you want to get the ebook version. Okay, 5 ringgit. It doesn't really cost much, right? It's just a little bit of something for me. I mean, it did take a lot of work to write. Each chapter of this book talks about one part of the filmmaking process. And for each chapter as well, I interview a local filmmaker. It's only 5 ringgit. It's only 5 ringgit. You're watching and listening to the Fat Bidin Film Club, and I'm assuming I'm Zan Azli.
And I'm Shao.
And every week we watch a local film and we review it.
And this week,
we're gonna watch a local film and we're gonna review it.
yes,
And it's a movie.
called Jerangkung dalam Almari.
Yes, I would like to note that Cheryl asked me, what is Jerangkung?
Yeah. So now I'm wondering if this film is like subtly
What is Jerangkung?
homo.
Homo.
You know. Is it a coming out film? Stay tuned to find out.
Jerangkung dalam almari. Skeleton in the closet. Oh yeah. Okay, we watched the film
Jerangkung dalam
Jerangkung dalam almari. Sounds like a lame title, but actually the title is inspired by a song by Wings.
Yes.
Yeah, and
which is called
Jerangkung dalam almari. Yeah, and it's explicitly said in the film also.
Yeah, they credit Wings all.
Yeah, they credit Wings and all that. But it's not in the story though. It's just in the credits only, in the beginning and at the end, and then they played the song.
Yeah, I appreciated that they didn't try to incorporate in the story except for use it as a theme song lah. That was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So who's the director?
The director is... Where's your phone?
Wait. Okay, where's my phone?
The director
Hey Siri.
It's a guy lah.
Hey Siri. Who's the director of Jerangkung dalam almari? Joanne
Okay,
Kampopo
don't waste
comes out.
time lah. Just type it out. Okay, there's a director lah. He's not like super famous, I think, but people also seem to also know him. I mean, he's not like Shamsu Yusof famous, but people know who he is lah. So it is Shadan Hashim.
Yeah.
Okay, so the director is this Shadan Hashim. And you were talking about the director.
I think I just want to know his name.
Okay. So the director is Shadan Hashim lah. Do you know Shadan Hashim?
No. I know Khalid Shadan, my favourite local football players in the 80s.
So can't be him lah. Okay, so what's the film about?
You tell me.
Okay. So Jerangkung dalam Almari is about Jerangkung dalam the Almari lah. It's about this. It follows the story of this guy Fikri, who's played by Dato Adiputra, and basically he was sent away when he was a small boy to go and live with like an ustad, and then shortly after that his
father died.
Apparently his father died, then his mother
because
also,
his mother kena buat.
Yeah, his mother died. Oh, you just gave away the
No, it's from the beginning. The mother, the opening scene was that the mother kena buat, and then they were baca and all that. Then he was a little
so
kid sitting back
basically
next to
both
the
his parents died lah, and then he's got like these 2 older siblings that continue to live in the family home, but for whatever reason he never goes back to see them until he's like an adult. He's got a family, he's got a wife and a son, he starts to constantly get these visions of his mother like strangling him or something. So he makes the decision to go back to the kampung, sort of to like reconnect with his family. His sister is very open to the idea, but then his brother, who's played by Hasnul Rahmat, is not so open to the idea, and his brother seems to be
hate him or something
very
like that.
erratic one, like very short tempered, always very bad mood, and then always praying one. And he's like hearing like voices in his head also, always saying, "Don't tell the secret, don't tell the secret, don't tell the secret." So, and then obviously,
No, he sees a shadow also that warns him, don't tell the secret.
Yeah.
You know, like a huge, large, tall shadow behind the car lah, behind the wall lah, and all that.
so, and then obviously like some stuff happens lah. Some really like intense like stuff starts happening to the family, and then slowly the story starts to develop lah, until you find out what happens.
Yeah, but it's explicit from the beginning already. It shows all this bomo, what hanta jin and all that, you know. Yeah, and then at the beginning also he was already studying how to fight all these spirits with that his stepfather lah. Who's
His
played by
guardian
one
lah,
his
his
guardian
guardian.
by one played
One
by one
Hanafi
Hanafi Su. Yeah. That is what the story is about, really.
Okay, so what do you think of the film?
I loved it.
We love it. We love it so much.
Okay.
Oh, we do. I do love it.
I don't think it's a great film, but it was very good. It was very good.
Yeah.
And it I guess what was a surprise to me was I wasn't expecting to like it. Because the name was so tacky.
The font.
Yeah, you know. But yeah, like you said, we really enjoyed the film.
Okay, I hate horror films. We all know this. It's a standing opinion I have on this Fat Bidin Film Club. And
Okay, don't say that I'm interrupting you or anything, but I have to hear because you know why? I love watching horror films with her
hate
because
watching horror
she gets scared and then she likes to hug me and then her hands go on my chest and I love her hands on my chest. Yeah.
And then he'll need to go and pee. Like, what the hell, dude? You can't go and pee. It's in our marriage contract. You're supposed to stick with me throughout the entire film. Anyway, so I hate horror films and I'm totally chicken when I go and watch it, as he's very explicitly explained. But this film, yes, it did have a horror thriller element, but it was done really well. There were, I guess you could call them jump scares, but I really
Not many.
Yeah, I really felt like this film was very, very fluid. It didn't rely so much on the generic horror tropes so much, but it really did lean into the story a lot. Which I think was what was the appeal for me lah. And also because it did use a lot of sound, as most horror films do, but it wasn't excessive, you know. A lot of the horror came from mostly the stillness of the shot, the stillness of the house. Like suddenly it's super quiet and then something happens, but the something happens isn't like a bam jump scare. It's just like suddenly the cupboard door opens slow.
There was only one jump scare. There was only one jump scare I remember when he and Hasnul Rahmat, when Adiputra and Hasnul Rahmat were at the grave before they got out of the car. That was the only time, right? Other than that, they didn't rely on jump scares, which was great.
Yeah. So it's all very, the horror I felt was all very fluid lah, very slow. Like he will open the door and then suddenly he will see it, but it's not like suddenly like bam, cut to the next shot. It's like they really pan the shot slowly, or like the door slowly open and then the boy goes in slowly, and then there's like a lot of tension in the air, you know, a lot of silence, a lot of tension, and it builds so well, which I really, really enjoyed. I like that, I don't know, maybe I'm stereotyping, but I really like that the Jerangkung was actually this really tall, lengthy type figure, and it wasn't like also a really typical horror depiction, because actually it's almost like a slightly firmer silhouette of a really tall, sort of lanky, spiky being, but you can't see full-on details like of the face. It's not like gory or whatever, so it leaves a lot to imagination almost, and and I appreciated that. It really I felt moved away from what typical horror is, especially in Malaysia, and it really stuck. He had a lot of control. He really knew how to work the audience, really knew how to build the tension, and all his characters also, which was surprising in a horror film for me, had actual character development. Like, it was such a solid story. They actually like developed the characters. The characters actually evolve and change. I was very flawed. Yes.
Yeah, so it's a really good movie, good story. Like you said, they don't rely on the jump scares and all that. Now, for me, the best thing about the film was that now here's the contrast between your experience and my experience with the movie, because you feel that it takes it away from the typical horror movies, right? But for me, it's going back to the typical horror movies. Right? Because all these jump scares and gimmicks for horror movies only started about 10-15 years ago. You know, in films, and we watch these jump scare and then really horrible faces that come out on the screen that, you know, makes people imagine it. It sticks, the image sticks in your head forever and all that, right?
Yeah.
And people cannot go to sleep and all that. So to me, those are gimmicks. But this film goes back to like in the 80s, in the 70s, when I used to watch all those Malay horror movies like Rumah Maut, Rumah Puaka, Toyol and all that, where of course, you know, you don't rely on special effects or
Because that
special
time don't
makeup
have.
and all. Yeah. So you had to rely on story.
Yep.
You know, which is what storytelling is, you know. And it like you said, the sound was very like Alfred Hitchcock like that, where the sound itself starts to make you associate it with a scene that's coming up or a feeling that is going to you know, you're going to feel, you know. And the things that you don't see is what keeps you at the edge of your seat when it comes to this film. Another thing that I also like was that this does not follow all those Malay horror movies where they just harp on about staying true to religion. Oh, Islam will guide you, Islam will protect you. This one tak ada, you know. Yeah, of course, there is a little bit of talk about Islam and baca Quran and all that. But that's not the main issue of the story. That's not the main point of the story. The story is really about this Malay culture of bomo-bomo, hantar jin, hantar hantu and
I don't friend
you know,
you.
yeah, I go attack you. You did something wrong to me. I go send this thing over to you. You know, yeah. So to me, it's like, yeah, it plays on our local culture, isn't it? And it goes back to a time when filmmaking in the Malaysian industry was the Malaysian film industry was thriving and actually at the cusp of like progression in the 80s, you know. The 80s were great for filmmaking, for the film industry in Malaysia. We had movies like Mechanic. Yeah, so it brought me back to that. Another thing that I really like about the film is the performances. Adi Putra acted really good. Hasnur Rahmat acted. Hasnur Rahmat was, to me, whoa, his performance in this movie was so good. You know, he's not like Abang Zan, a totally different character than Abang Zan in KL Underground, right? Yeah, which shows that he has range. You know, he's really good in this movie. And then Wan Hanafisu was also good. You know, as usual, as expected. Yeah.
Yeah, you brought up the whole thing about the Malay culture of bomo, and how this film is not really about like a typical horror trope or Islamicization. What was really interesting also to me was the fact that it played on something that was really, really relatable, which is very odd, I feel like, in a horror film, of human desperation. Like, what is the reasons for these like misunderstandings or whatever? It all comes down to social issues like poverty, development, whatever, and desperation of trying to hang on to what is yours and then not being able to. Sure, it's targeted at the wrong person, but it still actually plays on that. Like, this is what really drives people.
And a lot of misunderstandings.
Correct. To committing desperate extremist acts like this desperation, the lack of representation because they're not really being heard, because they're just kampung folk.
They're kampung folks, But
that's not the main issue of the movie, you see. So I felt like that small nuance about that entire part was great. Amirul Effendi is in this, and Amirul Effendi
had a very small cameo role.
Is the key to unlocking what I'm talking about right now.
Correct.
So I thought that was done really, really well. It really became sort of a social message for the film without being such a huge part of the film in its entirety.
I'm liking this film even more now.
It was great. It was a great take on CVE, even though he probably didn't intend for it to be CVE, but it was very CVE oriented if you really think about it.
Countering violent extremism,
Yeah.
for those of you who are not familiar.
Yeah.
I think it was good. Yeah. It actually talks about that, right? The issue of the economic injustice and inequality
Yeah.
within the Malay community
Yeah.
and Malaysian community, and how
Yeah.
they need help.
Yeah.
You know. And then there's that miscommunication. Oh, salah paham, that kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
But this salah paham was like extreme lah. People die all lah. People die, genes get sent here and there and all
Which
that lah.
again actually also shows you another part of how the disparity doesn't affect anybody but the people who are really in it.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, there was nothing that could have been done, but still she's the one that kena. So yeah lah, it's actually quite multi-layered.
It's a good movie.
A little
Good
bit
movie.
dark also.
Yeah. And the producers were very happy that they managed to collect 1 million ringgit at the box office.
Yes.
And I'm glad that they feel happy. I'm glad that they you know, that they love it. But there's such a contrast with Mak Kilau, man.
I cannot stress enough how much I want this film to succeed.
Yeah.
Like, everybody who's talking about how we've only, like, not we lah, but you know, the people in the other camp only shit on my Kilau because we don't support Malaysian films. Please go and watch Jerangkung na Almari and see a film that is worth supporting.
And it's very much a Malay culture film too.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it also has a lot of humanistic elements
Yeah.
about family.
And not preachy, you know?
Not preachy. So yeah, it talks. I think it's more appealing also because it centers more to family.
Yeah.
To family, to how you try to protect your family. The different ways really in how you want to protect your family.
And forgiveness.
And also community lah.
Yeah.
So, did we have anything to fault the film though?
Yes. But this is something that I would never bring up. So I'm not going to bring it up.
Okay, so
Okay,
let it go on record then that more or less this film is flawless.
Yeah, because the flaw was like way more than made the good stuff about the film way more made more what how made
up
way more
Okay.
the flaws. It's one flaw. The balancing of audio. But again, not important at all. Not important at all because the story was great,
And it wasn't also like, it wasn't really bad also. Was it? Was it really bad?
No.
I thought it was alright.
Well, good enough story lah. To make me not care lah.
I could hear them all say whatever they were saying.
Yeah.
But clearly I have little standards when it comes to technical stuff and more standards when it comes to storytelling. So, watch this film.
Yeah, please
watch this film.
It's still in the cinemas. Go watch
Still
it.
in the cinemas.
A good film to support. Support for the right reasons because it's a good film.
Yes, it's a good film with a good story. You can enjoy it even if you are not of a certain race. You know, if you have mother, father, siblings, family values, you would be able to relate to the film. So definitely go watch it. Go watch it. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, let us know what you think about all these.
Yeah.
Yes. I've got
Like this video. Oh,
No.
some more, sorry.
I wanted to also say I like this film and I really wanted to review this film. I want this review to come out fast because I like this film, right? And it's out lah, right? If you're watching this and it's out. But there's also another film that I really want to watch because it's just annoyed the hell out of me. They wanted to sue a film reviewer.
Again!
Yeah,
Oh my
so
god!
I can't wait to watch and review that film.
Stay
you know.
tuned
But anyway,
for
stay
a
tuned.
long rant about people suing film reviewers and telling film reviewers that they need to be able to make films first before they talk about films. Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so follow us on all our. Whoa, there's a bee. I'm allergic to bees. If I get stung, I'll die.
Then this video will go viral and I can make a lot of money.
So what do we always say? Comment.
Like this video,
don't like,
this video.
subscribe.
Comment.
Follow us on all our social media platforms at FatBidin or go to fatbidin.com to get everything you've been watching and listening to the Fat Bidin Film Club. I'm assuming I'm Zan Azli.
And I am Shell Abe Stawan.